Hey guys, I'm here with Jane Lynch, who stars in the film Afternoon Delight. So you play a therapist, Lenore. I'm curious, it seems like you and Jill sort of wrote this part together because it's got a lot of your own humor, but then we see another side of you. So how did you sign on to the project?
Well, I signed on without even reading the script. Jill and I have been friends for a long time, and so much of my humor is informed by Jill Soloway, and I hope vice versa. So we're kind of very much on the same page, and I know exactly who Lenore Smith is. I've been playing a version of her. Jill and I have been fooling around with this character for probably 25 years.
Oh my gosh.
And she's had many different names, Sandra Ragsdale.
I love it.
And it's just that kind of precious, feminist, a narcissistic person who comes from a good place but is kind of hiding behind her academia and her theories and her belief about archetypes and goddess things, which is kind of where I went through a phase. I'm still in that phase. You know, I'm very into myths and stuff like that, and I would share this with Jill, and we always find something funny and precious. You know, people taking themselves too seriously about things, and so that's where she came from.
Yeah, what I love, you know, I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but we see you very vulnerable at the end, and it was nice to see you who formed this comedic genre about yourself go to those vulnerable, real, truthful places. So are those roles that we're going to see more of you playing?
I hope so. And it's funny because I did not plan to go there. Jill, without sounding condescending, I'm so proud of where she went with this film. She came in every day in a state of allowing and surrender, and she took it very, very seriously, if you can seriously surrender, and she created such a safe space, and it was a really creative, open environment in which we created in, and you know, we all together came to that point where, you know, Lenore had this breakdown. So it's not something that I showed up that day and knew that was going to happen. We got there, and it was a joy.
You surrounded yourself with fantastic filmmakers and people, and that's, you know, helped your career blossom. And I'm curious what your advice would be to, I mean, the film is so much about women finding their voice.
Yes.
What's the journey been like for you, and when did you really have to stand up for yourself as an actress?
Well, I don't know that I've ever. I've had to stand up for myself against myself. I'm my worst enemy, and I think women and all people will find that's probably the truth. I had to get to a point where I just started saying yes and taking risks.
Yeah.
And it led me to meeting people like Jill, you know, who's now in my life 25, maybe 30 years at this point, and finding like-minded others. But you don't do that until you show up in all your authenticity, and this is who I am. I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. I don't think I want that. This feels right. So you meet someone like Jill, or you do sketch comedy at Second City, or and you think you should be over here, but then you find this feels great.
Right.
This feels great, and that's how I've, you know, kind of created a niche for myself, and it's my own. It's nobody else's. So you got to find your own.
Right, and I think this niche you have created, this comedic voice, is evolving into new places. So what's next for you?
Well, I think just that, you know, allowing all this to grow, and as Jill was a great reminder how important it is to be an allowance and acceptance of what comes your way. It's not about going out there knocking on doors or breaking down doors or running into glass ceilings and destroying them. It's really about facing yourself.
We're not going to see you and Tom Cruise star in Mission Impossible
yeah, right.
3 million.
maybe from the woman's point of view. But you know, it's about every day really just, it's the biggest principle of improvisation. Yes, and saying yes and to everything.
Jane Lynch says, say yes.